My name's Joe Bereta, and you're watching Bonus Feature Spotlight. Lucky. The year was 2000. The internet was in its infancy. Rap metal was replaced with boy bands, and there was a lot of anticipation surrounding the first ever live adaptation of Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Ron Howard and his producing partner Brian Grazer were determined to bring Dr. Seuss's work to life like never before. And with Jim Carrey set to star as the infamous Grinch, the makings of a new holiday classic were inevitable. The massive production was among the most ambitious Hollywood had ever attempted, and behind-the-scenes crews were there to capture the magic.
This holiday season, you better watch out, because Universal Pictures and Imagine Entertainment are planning to steal Christmas. A whole new world built across 11 sound stages, more than 300 visual effect shots, 1,000 man-hours in makeup, 1 billion watts of wattage, and one Jim Carrey. All brought together for the biggest motion picture production in years.
That worked out nicely.
From Brian Grazer and Ron Howard comes Dr. Seuss's classic story, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. When Brian Grazer and Ron Howard first considered producing Dr. Seuss's classic children's tale, they knew they were taking on a formidable task.
The challenge was to be true to the Grinch as he existed in the books.
It was very important for us to remain consistent with the vision of Seuss and, more importantly, the spirit of the characters. I always saw Jim Carrey. Always.
Oh, no.
Jim Carrey brought a level of passion and total belief in the story, its entertainment value, and a sense of just the hipness of this character.
Oh, there's just so many elements you would not believe it, and I'm amazed at him and his ability to navigate that.
Jury duty, jury duty, jury duty, blackmail, pink slip, chain letter, eviction notice, jury duty.
That story is just such a part of Christmas for me, my whole life, you know? So yeah, it was incredibly important not to screw it up.
You're the
Grinch!
Whoville is this very upbeat place. People are very busy. They're happy, but they're busy.
There are the familiar faces of Jeffrey Tambor as the mayor of Whoville and Christine Baranski as the Grinch's old flame. Acclaimed Broadway actor Bill Irwin plays postmaster Lulu Who. Saturday Night Live's Molly Shannon is his wife, Betty Lou Who. And 6-year-old Taylor Momsen stars in her first featured role as Cindy Lou Who, the little girl who is convinced that the Grinch is not really mean, just misunderstood.
She has the nerve to go up to the Grinch's cave and knock on his door and not get scared by the traps or anything.
Taylor Momsen is a real discovery. She seems to have an innate kind of understanding of the Cindy Lou Who character.
Mr. Grinch, my name is Cindy Lou Who.
There was one very crucial cast member who couldn't be found from central casting.
Max the dog is a very important character. Max lives with the Grinch, the only living creature that the Grinch seems willing to tolerate.
Oh, Max. I love you.
Max was actually rescued from a pound about 4 or 5 months before the filming.
As the cast came together, so did the crew of costume designers, set builders, makeup artists, and visual effects technicians who would be responsible for bringing the world of Dr. Seuss to life. Turning the production sketches, storyboards, and models into actual buildings was one of the most ambitious operations ever attempted for a motion picture.
I think there's certain Seussian rules that we had to follow.
And we're trying to flesh out something that is a line drawing in a book. So not only does Ron have the challenge of narratively fleshing it out, but how do we visually do it?
While the production and set designers focused on every minute detail of all 11 sound stages, the most critical element of the film was still under wraps: the physical transformation of Jim Carrey into the Grinch. It was clear that Jim Carrey's costume would have to be something special, and that his makeup could only be the work of the world's foremost expert, 5-time Academy Award winner Rick Baker.
I'd always hoped that sometime in my life I would be able to do a big fantasy like this, and I'm so happy.
I absolutely was amazed at his artistry. It was incredible. He just loves to have fun and get his hands dirty and get involved and create something, and that's what we're all about.
If it's going to work on anybody, it would work on Jim because he's so good at contorting his face. He does this great Grinch face, right? He does a weird smile and stuff, you know. Jim's got, you know, a rubber face to begin with.
Jim Carrey wasn't the only one being transformed. Every Who down in Whoville needed a certain unique look, and it was up to Rick and his team to design each and every one of them.
The scale of this movie is so immense. Never have I done anything where we had, you know, 90 people in makeup.
Eventually, Ron Howard decided he had to experience what the cast was going through for himself.
I did dress up as the Grinch one day and directed all day long as the Grinch. It must have been very confusing for everyone else. Great, let's move on.
This is ridiculous. If I can't find something nice to wear, I'm not going.
Hundreds of costumes were required for the Who's of Whoville.
I really tried to evoke the feelings I had when I read Dr. Seuss as a child. It's really theatrical. We have a Prada Who and a Chanel Who, and I don't know how many people will notice that, but that made it a lot of fun for me.
While shooting continued at Universal Studios, work was already underway at Digital Domain, the visual effects team behind Ron Howard's Oscar-winning Apollo 13.
Probably the biggest challenge in this film is the sheer number of shots.
The set of Whoville is the largest ever built at Universal Studios. Still, the filmmakers used several computer-generated matte paintings to further extend the fanciful world of the Who's.
There's a blue screen wrapping around it that allows us to composite extended buildings, mountains, sky, etc.
Once every nuance of production had been carefully considered, there was one more crucial detail of post-production for Ron Howard to address.
Ask any Who, and they'll have this to say: there is no place like Whoville around Christmas Day.
Ron called upon the distinguished Academy Award-winning actor Sir Anthony Hopkins to provide the narrator's perfect tone and pitch.
It's total whimsy and total freedom from who we are and where we live, which is the great thing about doing this stuff.
I know we've created a world that is mind-blowing, that I've never even seen before in any other movie. I mean, that it has speed and color and light.
We all had our work cut out for us with The Grinch.
Tell it to stop!
We had great screenwriters. We went to Rick Baker, one of the world's greatest makeup artists. And of course, the extraordinary Jim Carrey. He's green, he's hairy, he's hilarious. And we've had a lot of laughs.
We did it! Cut, print, check the gate, moving on.
This maiden voyage into the live-action world of Dr. Seuss, though not easily achieved, was a lavish gift for millions of fans of the author's work to behold. And thankfully for them, the Whoville that Ron Howard and his team constructed was such a dazzling feat that much of it still stands on the Universal Studios backlot today, giving onlookers a whimsical slice of Dr. Seuss's imagination come to life. For Bonus Feature Spotlight, I'm Joe Bereta. Thank you for watching Universal Pictures All Access. Get the most out of your movies. All right, you guys, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, and if you want to see more, click on one of these other videos. And also, the little subscribe button that's floating somewhere around here. You find it. You're an adult.